Unrestricted hours, unrestricted hours, unrestricted hours. If you need unrestricted hours, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Dom, the BCBA mom, and welcome back to my channel. So many of you guys have been asking me about this question. You guys want more information about unrestricted hours. I'm going to help you out so you'll understand what unrestricted hours are. I'm going to give you some ideas of assignments that you can do to gain unrestricted hours. Not only am I going to share ideas of how you can gain unrestricted hours, but also ways that you can actually gain those skill sets that exemplifies the skill of a BCBA. That is the purpose of gaining restricted and unrestricted hours. So I am just here to just give you all the information that you need. Let's get into it. Are you ready? Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. Okay, so I want to give you a disclaimer. I am not your direct supervisor. So although I'm going to give you a list of unrestricted tasks, if I am not your approved supervisor, you still have to go through your approved supervisor to get these assignments approved by them. But I'm just gonna try to make it easier for you. Sometimes as BCBAs, it's really easy to give you restricted work. It's really easy to have you run a session with a client or be direct or one-on-one with a client. But coming up with these assignments, being creative, thinking outside of the box, pretty much being a teacher, a one-on-one teacher, sometimes that's hard for BCBAs to come up with those type of assignments, or they don't have the time to do that. So this is a video to help you come up with some ideas that maybe you can present to your supervisor and say, hey, these are some of the things that I'm interested in and I would like to work on them. Are these approved, unrestricted activities that I can complete? Okay, so most of the information I'm going to be giving you today, I am reading directly from the BACB, BCBA, and BCABA experience standards. Okay, these are the standards in order to become a BCBA. So this is where this information is coming from, and of course I'm going to link it in the description below. I'm gonna zhuzh it up a little bit and give you my opinions on things, so I'm not gonna read it verbatim, but I encourage you to read this document and understand it for yourself. Okay, so what is supervision? Supervision is one of the primary eligibility requirements in order to become a BCBA. Sometimes there were requirements change. Recently, there was a change where now they increase the amount of hours that you have to receive in order to meet the standard. Back in the day, it was 1,000, then it was 1,500. Now it's 2,000, depending on which path you take. Who is an approved supervisor? An approved supervisor is a BCBA who has taken the 8-hour supervision training and that has been a BCBA for over 1 year. This is a new requirement. Back in the day, I don't know if there was a time limit on how long you were a BCBA before you can begin to supervise, but now there is. So if you are looking for a supervisor, make sure that they have been a BCBA for at least a year, or they are seeking mentorship from a BCBA that has been certified for longer than a year. I believe it's 5 years. Just a side note, I am going on my 7th year as a BCBA. Can you believe that? I feel like an OG in the game. I just had to put that out there. So your supervisor is supposed to monitor your work, help develop your skills, give you feedback on your skills, and just pretty much teach you everything they know or everything you need to know in order to be a BCBA. So you can't learn everything you need to know in 2 years. I'm just letting you know that right now. But I encourage you, if you are in this state of having a supervisor, soak up all the knowledge and information that you can, because this is probably the only time in your life that you are going to have someone to really lean on like that, unless you find a mentor after becoming a BCBA. So there is so much that we can get into about supervision, and I've already explained it in a previous video. Watch this video before you start supervision. So if you haven't seen that video already, watch that after this. But this specific video, I'm really going to target how to get unrestricted hours. So there are restricted hours, and that is the delivery of therapeutic services. That is you with your client, running programs, developing programs, just being in the presence of your client. Don't sleep on the restricted hours, okay? Because that's where you learn your soft skills, your bedside manner. Or for us as BCBAs, that's how you learn how to play with kiddos. It's just something about a BCBA that can't connect with their client or can't connect with kids or can't think restricted hours. Even though there is a restriction on it, I think it's very important that you do have some type of contact. But unrestricted hours or activities is the work that best exemplifies what a BCBA does on a daily basis. So the reason that there is no cap on unrestricted hours and there is a cap on restricted hours, that's because when you become a BCBA, most of our work is going to be spent doing unrestricted type of activities. As much as I love the kiddos and my clients, I don't see them every day for 4 or 5, 6 hours a day. That's not my job. My job is to write the treatment plans and to analyze the data and compute the graphs and present at this meeting and go to that meeting and train and do supervision. Every now and then I still will get on the floor and play with the kiddo because that's just who I am, and that's why I got into this field, and that's why I love what I do. But as a BCBA, most of our job will be indirect work or more of those unrestricted activities that we're going to get into right now. Here is a list of acceptable unrestricted assignments from the BACB website, and then I'm going to give you some examples. The first one is training staff and caregivers on behavior-analytic programs and content. Okay, so think about it. You can have endless hours creating training and content. You can teach them everything you know. Teach them everything that you are currently learning in your program and put it in a training format. Put it in a PowerPoint. Make it cute. Make it vibrant. Make it catching. Okay? And you can do this for every single concept that you have learned. If you are working specifically with a client, then a lot of the training content should be centered around what the client is trying to navigate or what the parents are navigating in the moment. You can create trainings on behavior increase procedures like behavior chaining, behavior shaping, differential reinforcement. You can do a training on functions of behavior. You can do a training on positive reinforcement, schedules of reinforcement. Like, you can do caregiver trainings on literally everything that is in this book. And the more you create trainings, the more that you are also studying and learning and just crafting your skills of communicating about our science, disseminating, and by the time you become a BCBA, you'll be a keynote speaker if that's what you want for your life. You can also make trainings for different audiences. You can make a training using only technological language for ABA conferences for your colleagues, but you can also make trainings for caregivers and you want to put it in their language. So that is a way to make the exact same training but make it for a different audience, and that's another way that you can get some hours. Number 2, conduct assessments related to the intervention that is needed. So don't underestimate the effort that is put into conducting assessments. It's not just reading a script or reading questions off of a piece of paper and scoring them. A lot of my experience with assessments are really vulnerable. It's usually the first or second time that you've ever met the family. You're nervous, they're nervous, and you're asking very invasive questions that may make them uncomfortable. So if you're just sitting there reading off a paper and marking marks and not really giving them eye contact and vibing with the parents and vibing with the client and making them feel comfortable, that's a way to turn them off of ABA or the ABA services. So I always encourage my supervisees to practice conducting assessments, as many assessments as you can. When you become a BCBA, You may work at an agency that only does the VB maps. You may work at another agency that only does the violence. You may work at another agency that does the ABLEs and the AFLs. So it's important that you have contact with a lot of different assessments and practice. Record yourself conducting assessments so that you feel comfortable, confident, and competent in how to conduct and score these assessments, even if it's for a mock client. Number 3, graphing and analyzing data. So this is a skill set that I feel like if you don't use it, you'll lose it. There have been some jobs where I just have to put the data in the computer and it graphs it for me. And then I've worked at jobs where I am sitting doing hand, paper, and pen graphing, inputting every single number in by myself, and then creating a graph on Excel by myself, editing the graph to make it APA format, all of this on my own. So I think it's really important to practice collecting raw data. Even if you're collecting data on yourself, collect some data, learn how to create graphs, learn how to do phase change or do ABA reversal or do multiple baseline graphs. Just practice creating graphs because it's going to help you in your future career as a BCBA, because you never know what type of information that the stakeholder is going to want from you. So you want to be fluent in creating graphs, and you can do that while practicing during your supervision experience. One thing I regret is not learning more about Excel. Like when you go through your ABA program, we don't have a class in there specifically how to learn Excel and all the tricks to make your job easier. So, I may ask my supervisor, hey, I found this course on Excel. Can I take this and apply what I'm learning to creating these graphs, and can that account for some supervision hours? Like I said, everything that I'm saying, it still has to be approved by your supervisor, but these are just some ideas that I wish somebody would have told me. Number 4, researching the literature relevant to a current client's programming. The wealth of knowledge that is in reading articles is really endless. There is only so much you can learn in your ABA program, and around us there's so much current research going on. So if you have the time, if you have a couple hundred hours to spare, I would use that reading up on past and current research, because it's only going to help you in your practice. As a current BCBA, we don't have a lot of time to just look up articles and research and just sift through all of this stuff. A lot of times we are on really tight deadlines, and I wish I would have had ample amount of time to just read all of the articles and the research of topics that I am really, really interested in, or demographics that I want to learn more about. Read current articles on punishment procedure, extinction procedure, cultural humility, reading articles, summarizing articles, taking what you learn from the articles and putting it in a training, and now you have a caregiver training, and now you just grabbing hours all over the place. Just look at you getting all your hours. Another thing I want to mention about that, most lay people that are not in the field of ABA that could benefit from this information in these articles are not going to read these articles. They don't even have access to these articles. So you reading that information, consuming it, and then creating it into something that is comprehensive to the masses could help move this field along faster, because this is another way to disseminate. You can also take this information and create a cute post for Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. You can create YouTube videos about it. You can create a podcast about what you are learning. You can create, just make sure it's accurate information. But just find different ways to disseminate the things that we are learning. I remember when I first started my first ABA program, because I was in 2. I mentioned it in a previous video. But my first ABA program, I had a professor, and one of the requirements was every single day we had to tweet something that we learned about ABA. This is when I was on Twitter, y'all. I'm not even on Twitter no more. And I think that's the only reason I got on Twitter, because she was like, no, we have to disseminate. So every single day, everyone in the class had to tweet something that they learned about ABA during their studies. So imagine if she had 15 classes come after me with all of those people that are now pushing out this information and helping to push our field forward, not through articles, but through Twitter and Instagram and now TikTok and all of these different ways that we can disseminate. So try to think outside the box and try to get your supervisor to think outside of the box when they approve your hours. Okay, so the last thing you can do, and this is not an exhaustive list, but this is where the list ends for today, because I literally have supervision starting in a few minutes. But the last thing you can do is write and revise behavior plans. So learning how to write behavior plans is so important, because you are going to be responsible for writing so many behavior plans. So you want to be able to do that with competence, confidence, and fluency, and you want to be quick and you want to be accurate. So that comes with practice. If you don't have a current client, you can ask your supervisor if you can peer review one of their old behavior plans, and you white out the client's name and then you review it and you recreate a treatment plan. Use an old behavior plan and alter the behaviors and write the behavior plan all over again with different behaviors, or rewrite a behavior plan with a different function, because we know that all of these little changes will create a totally different behavior plan, but you won't know that until you write behavior plans over and over again. So I encourage you to start writing behavior plans. Ask your supervisor, hey, can I take this off your plate? Can I write the proactive procedures? Hey, can I take this off your plate? Can I write the operational definitions? Can I write the consequence procedure? Can I write the fade out plan? Whatever that looks like, you want to get practice on all of the components of writing a behavior plan. And I will say that from agency to agency, wherever you work, the behavior plan template will be different. So you want to get practice with a variety or an array of different treatment plans, behavior support plans, behavior intervention plans. Sometimes they're even called different things, but you want experience, and you can get hours. You can collect hours writing, revising, reviewing, and editing treatment plans. Okay, so that is all that I have for you today. Please comment below and ask me any questions. Did I miss anything? Is there anything that you want me to explain even further? Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and I really appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.